Cowboys and Eagles fan walk into a bar. All right, man. So let's get it started, man. Welcome everybody here. My name is Bradley Hayes. This is my co-host.
Kamal Shaw.
And we're part of Next Possession Sports. We got a sports podcast. We're coming live to you today on both our page as well as Gridiron Access. Shout out to my boys Marcus, Danny, and James over there at Gridiron, doing a lot of good things for youth football and sports. Appreciate allowing us to come on this platform and do a live recording of our podcast. So we're going to jump right into it.
Appreciate that.
We've gotten through 7 of the 8 divisions, and we're now on the NFC East. If you haven't caught any of our previous episodes, they're on our YouTube page, and you can click on our account, and it's Next Possession Sports, or as well you can search at YouTube. And we're now on the NFC East. We saved the NFC East for last. As you can see, I'm a Cowboys fan. Kamel, unfortunately, is an Eagles fan. So we saved, one of the best divisions, historically. One of the always the most talked about divisions for last. There's always a lot of stuff going on surrounding the NFC East, and this year, no exception at all. So we start worst to first, going over breaking down the offseason moves of each team. We'll take some questions from you guys as well throughout the podcast. But, we'll start first with the Washington Redskins. So they Washington football team. Exactly. I had to lob that up. You know me. For years, I've been actually calling them the Washington football team. And it's funny now that they've officially adopted that name during the short term, at least until they can fully rebrand. But
it features ever like you see on Eagles tickets, it say Eagles versus Washington.
It's funny, looking up some their depth chart for tonight's episode and things like that. Like actually seeing Washington football team like on things was pretty funny. Google finishing it as Washington football team and all of that. So yeah, I mean, obviously that's probably some of the biggest news coming out of sports over late. But if we go further back in the off season, they had a change in coaching staff. They brought in Ron Rivera, which is a very solid move, especially for that organization who doesn't really get that hire correct. And we've seen that with them bringing back, Joe Gibbs and bringing in, Gruden and the likes. But for them, to bring in Rivera and get him early, that was definitely a great move. And then, they went into the offseason. What do you think about their draft and their offseason moves?
The draft, man, it was hit and miss. Of course, if they missed, like they didn't draft Chase Young, they'd have been officially the dumbest team in the league. It's a lot of people who rival that, but yeah, Chase Young was once generation talent. You can't pass on him. The people who I really like, I like Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty. I really like him at the Senior Bowl, and he's not a whole lot of tape on him. I really liked him, and of course Antonio Gibson out of Memphis. He plays receiver and plays in the backfield, so like that. It's weird saying I like it about this team, and I don't even like the team. But then they brought Kyle Fuller back, and they traded him away, and then they signed him back. I thought that was funny. So they beat up their secondary with him, Ronald Darby, and Sean Davis, all of which who have playoff experience. And they really they brought in somebody from the locker room, and Thomas Davis.
Yeah, follow his old coach. But yeah, like I said, Chase Young, like I said right here on our live, Chase Young is definitely a dog. He's got a motor. He's super athletic. He's going to be that, one of those guys that you have to, prepare for the way you do a Khalil Mack and some of these other, great pass rushers in the league. So, to be able to pair him up on that defensive line with some of the other pieces they already have, definitely something to be interesting to watch. And I also like, the fact that, like I said, I don't want to say but I was jealous a little bit, for them to go out and be able to sign Thad Moss as an undrafted free agent. I can see him coming out, similar to his dad, but using obviously his dad not falling to there, but his dad having that chip on the shoulder for every team that passed over him in the draft. And for that, Moss kind of had that same kind of chip coming into the league and to see what he's going to be able to do coming in. But like I said, they made some key changes. It's also nice to see. Goodness gracious, the quarterback Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Officially cleared to practice. And if he can pass his physical, it was said today that he'll be given a chance to compete for the starting job. We'll see what he really all has, but just to see that he was able to, be cleared to practice and be cleared to kind of get there, after all the surgeries that he's had, definitely want to shout out to him. Unfortunately, though, you have Harmon, who was the rookie last year, drafted, I believe, in the 6th, 7th round, towards ACL though, and is going to miss the season. He's a Jersey boy, South Jersey boy. So, I just want to say, quick recovery to him, speedy recovery. But I don't know. You got anything else on Washington before we move it on?
I think one of the really underrated things is that was funny because Ron McBair really has trouble picking offensive coordinator, but he's really good at picking defensive coordinator and bringing Jack Del Rio. With that defense, I was looking at just like the roster, and they have 5 former first-round picks on the defensive line alone. So my one question is, who do you trade? That's a lot of money on the line. And then 2, they also got Reuben Foster coming back. So Thomas Davis can mentor Reuben Foster, who was on last year's deal. I think that's good. And then just think about Chase Young, Ron McBair, and Jack Del Rio on the same side of the ball. I like it, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you. But like you said, I mean, all that talent up front with Kerrigan and Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne, like they have guys all up front as well as Chase Young. So we'll see what they do. But they're playing Chase in that outside linebacker kind of position, and we'll see if they're going to keep him there, even though they kind of run that 4-3, or will they eventually get rid of one of those defensive ends and allow him to play his hand in the dirt more often.
Mm-hmm. And then, last thing, they have enough distraction with the name change, but everything that's going on with their owner right now, I'm interested to see, like, not only with the noisy offseason, but just with COVID and everything, but how do they level that with potential investigation going on their owner?
Yeah, and that on the defense real quick as well, I just want to shout out Khalid Hudson because I think he might be a still, can play like that safety linebacker kind of position. I think he's going to be very versatile, a versatile player. And, he played that Viper role at Michigan, and he's a baller. I was surprised to kind of see him, drop to the 5th round. So to be able to get that kind of talent that late, that was definitely a good pickup.
Gotcha. All right, so let's move on to New York Giants.
New York Giants, another team.
All right. Now that we talk about them, let's move on to the Cowboys.
Listen. We can't talk about the Giants as well. As we talked about the Washington football team.
We just talked about it. That was their whole offseason.
That wasn't though, because you can't talk about they brought in the special teams coordinator to be their head coach. Like we got to talk about Joe Judge. You got people out there. You have a young quarterback. You have your Eric Bieniemys of the world out there.
You got Robert Saleh.
Yeah, you got a lot of people out there, and for them to go kind of out of left field and to grab Joe Judge, special team coordinator from the New England Patriots, it was a head scratcher. Now I'll sit here and say, I scratched my head as well when your Eagles signed Doug Peterson.
And all Ravens fans were very confused when they signed John Harbaugh. So yeah,
right. And those are two coaches who ended up winning a Super Bowl with those prospective teams. So it's a lot of times like you don't fully know. Harbaugh being a special teams coach at the Eagles at the time, before going to Baltimore. So like it's not the first time it's happened, but it was very strange and weird. And then for them to bring in, they bring in Jason Garrett, who's a Jersey guy, come back home, but to be in the division, and you see some of his first moves was to bring in his backup quarterback. He brings in Cooper Rush. after they had already brought in Colt McCoy. Like he brings in Cooper Rush off of waivers when he was going to make it through waivers. They could have signed him for less. Like he didn't have to go acquire Cooper Rush. So it's just a lot of interesting moves that they made. They bring in Deion Lewis though to complement Saquon Barkley out of the backfield. They bring in James Bradbury, a cornerback who had a good year in Carolina, but I don't know that he can be that number one corner. And what they're trying to pay him, but right now with the DeAndre Baker situation, I don't know what else like how. I guess that's a better that signing's looking better and better as time goes, because right now he's on the commissioner's exempt list as they fight that alleged armed robbery case and everything that they had in Florida. But they had some decent draft picks though.
They did. Andrew Thomas, that was a very good pick because as we've seen as we've enjoyed over the past couple of seasons, the Giants' offensive line is abysmal. The reason why I said the Lions instead of the Giants because I still remember the game when Ezekiel Ansah took Eric Flowers off his feet for about 3 yards. So that's why I said the Lions. The first thing came to my head. But yeah, that was a very solid pick. They needed that because they building off of last year when they got Will Hernandez, and of course. Maybe they can salvage Nate Solder career at this point. He has been playing well. But also the pick Xavier McKinney out of Alabama, that was also a very good pick as well.
No, absolutely. Like I said, we'll see if the last time they picked someone, a offensive lineman that high, it was Eric Fisher. Who we know how that played out. So there was a lot of Giants fans that didn't want them to go. Go grab a offensive tackle that high. I think a lot of them thought that they would actually go Isaiah Simmons, who was sitting there for them to take. But they bypassed them. But they end up taking 2 offensive tackles with 2 of their first 3 picks to really help out Saquon and help out the young quarterback there. So they're trying to build the offensive line up, and then like you said, you spoke on Xavier McKinney, and then. They had the cornerback Darnay Holmes at UCLA, which was, also, like I said, may see some time faster than he would have, with the situation going on.
Yeah. And right, because Saquon is offense. And one upside other than Saquon is that now that they know they have Darius Slayton, they get an entire offseason with him.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very true. That's very true. A lot of those weapons, like they never played all at the same time, Helm, Saquon, who's the quarterback from Seattle?
You said the corner?
No, the receiver. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
You know exactly who I'm talking about. I got it right here. Golden Tate. Came from Philly. I think the year before. Mm-hmm. He didn't know that trade, but so yeah, I mean, a lot of those people, Sterling Shepard, like they haven't really played a full, a lot of games with all those weapons on the field at the same time.
Yeah, so Sterling Shepard been hurt. Like I really like him as a receiver. I hated the Giants drafting him. I really like him as a receiver. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah. All right, so now to the 2 teams who've been, rotating back and forth the division over the past 4 years.
Mm.
We'll go with the Dallas Cowboys next. I'll obviously take the lead on my boys.
You just let me know when you're done.
It was a interesting offseason. We had the shocking news from Travis Frederick announcing his retirement.
Mm.
That was when an all-pro, one of the best centers in the league during his time there. But he felt he just couldn't get back to where he was, even though he played at a high rate last year. So he decided to hang it up. And then there was a lot of money situations. What were we going to do? And we ended up letting Byron Jones walk. We lose Robert Quinn, Jeff Heath, Jason Witten, some of those older names out of the door, as well as Randall Cobb. But then we get to the draft, and I might be biased, but Cowboys had one of the best drafts this year. CeeDee Lamb falling to the Cowboys at pick number 17 was an absolute steal. And there was no way I thought he'd make it out of the top 10. And for him to be sitting there for us, how can I not love that? You got Trayvon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama, coming in the second round. We draft a center out of Wisconsin, the same school that Travis Frederick was from, and Tyler Biadasz. And, I would have never thought that he would be available in the fourth round. So, like, all the talent that we got, Bradley Anae, the defensive end from Utah in the fifth round. So there was just a lot of, I felt, high-value picks throughout the draft that the Cowboys were able to get. And then, in free agency to bring in, a Gerald McCoy, a Dontari Poe, which we've been needing to upgrade our defensive tackles for a long time. I wanted Gerald McCoy last year and finally able to bring him into the fold. I like what we were able to do and replace the pieces that we lost.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair. Y'all had one of the better drafts. The Bradley, Anali, I really liked him coming out. High motor. He was literally all over the field at Utah.
Yeah.
The Tyler, how we say his name? I was high on him for a minute. I started watching film on him. I started see him get washed. So, and we traded y'all that pick. So
yeah. Which was hilarious. Like, I never thought that would happen.
Yeah. What was it, Howie? He said that whenever the Cowboys fall, he always feel conflicted.
Y'all traded out of that pick, and then y'all just kept trading down. I feel like every pick was just like trading down.
Yeah, it's painful watching. But I'm interested to watch because y'all have a lot of new pieces. Like, I mean, of course, an entire coaching staff, other than maybe a few here and a few there, but you have a lot of new pieces.
Yep, definitely another coaching staff, like I said, for
Yeah, that. So they got all these, and a lot of them have, maybe other than McCarthy and Philbin, I don't know how many of them have worked together before, or Mike Nolan, but it's kind of like all these people who are former head coaches, former defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, and like, so you see them potentially button heads. Like, can they coexist in the same spot? Then also, got to talk about the elephant. Dak still ain't been paid.
Dak still hasn't been paid. I mean, he signed his franchise tag. He can't negotiate a new deal now until the offseason, since that deadline has come and gone. We bring in Andy Dalton in the offseason to be a backup. So like I said, but it's, will Dak get paid? What is he going to get paid? Where's the market going to go? We've dropped the ball on the Dak signing, to me, numerous times now, and you still have a Deshaun Watson who has yet to be paid. Obviously, we've seen what Mahomes did, but we know Mahomes is an anomaly. He's not he's not the market. he's in his own class. But you have Watson still out there that's set to get an extension as well. So where does he take the market? Does he take it north of where Russell Wilson has signed? And if so, then you can see where Dak is going to come back and try to offer. So there's a lot of things there. We lose. I felt like we were able to replace a lot of pieces. The one thing we weren't able to replace was the loss of Robert Quinn. And we signed Alden Smith, which obviously hasn't played in 4 years. He was able to get reinstated, but what are we going to get out of him? Sure, if he can go back to the old Alden Smith, then that's a great pickup for.
Wait, which old Alden Smith? Because he's still been in the news since playing for the Niners.
Yeah, he has. But I'm talking about the one who was on the field that was
okay, all right.
If we can get the one on the field, who can get double-digit sacks and wreck a backfield, then that's going to be awesome. Opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory is still on the team, who's somebody that the Cowboys continue to hold on to for whatever reason. And unlike Alden Smith, Randy Gregory has not been reinstated.
Hold up.
They're not sure if he's going to be reinstated. And I think the team, I think Jerry Jones, with the passing of, the marijuana and everything, that he was automatically going to be reinstated, and that we won't have any more Randy Gregory issues because he can no longer test positive and get suspended. And he has yet to be reinstated. And I don't know what's going on with that situation, but
the fact these two will share a position group room.
Yes,
they might make it to the meetings.
Listen, if they don't, they might be with Leon Letton. No, I'm joking, but like, he's still down there helping out, coaching and everything. But I mean, like, in all honesty, like, we have a few dollars left. Tyron Crawford also, we could release him today and free up $8 million. And you have somebody out there like Everson Griffin, still a free agent, and you need to secure that other side. Like, why not go after him? You have Jadeveon Clowney still out there. Why not go after them? But seems like we're sitting back, seeing how things play out. And I mean, we'll have to see how it all unfolds on the field.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, all these new pieces. See, I do bring in somebody else. It's just like manufacturing the team. It can't microwave the team. I mean, I think we definitely saw that in Philly with the Dream Team. But and also, does the Dak contract that creep into the locker room? Like, does he go out and try to win a Super Bowl on every play because he wants a big contract? He just saw that Mahomes just became a minority owner of a professional team, and like, I want that money too. I mean, we all want that bag. But so it's like, does that creep into the locker room? And he sees and goes out there paying all these other people like Dante Poe, Gerald McCoy. He's like, hey, I've been here 4 years. You ain't paid me yet.
I mean, what I'll say is I'll take anybody playing on a contract year. You generally get people's best years when they're playing on a contract year. So we might not have him signed. I wish we would have had him signed a couple years ago. It could have been better for our cap situation. But Dak is going to put himself in a great situation, just off of where he's going to be able to perform, the offensive pieces we've been able to put around him. We now have a mobile tight end. Jason Witten was great, but the order he got, it really only became, his football IQ and not what he can do with the ball in his hands. So, like, to now go to Blake Jarwin, who we saw, be able to get yards after the catch from the tight end position, which we haven't had in years, the last few years with Jason Witten there. To be able to bring in a CD Lamb to go along with two 1,100-yard receivers and Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. Like, it's and then not to mention, obviously, we have Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. So we have the weapons there for him to take advantage of. And we have, like I said, we have McCarthy now also, who is going to be able to help open up the offense and actually give him, probably the best offense he's been in. Like, he had the worst offensive coordinator for years. He had Jason Garrett for years. So I'm interested to see, like I said, how all this, plays out.
Me too.
On the Eagles, man.
On the Eagles. Now, I say we had a very interesting offseason. From a lot of avenues. From coaching, we brought in a lot of offensive coaches. We brought in Rich Gangrello, who was the former offensive coordinator from the Broncos, who also comes from the Shanahan coaching tree, which me personally I like because Doug Peterson's biggest weakness is that he has a really talented quarterback, and he doesn't like to run the ball. So anybody from Shanahan coaching tree is going to have him running the ball. So I really like that because when he was in Denver, Von Miller said that Scangrello's offense was really annoying because of all the motion. So if you get that, freeing people up, so that we brought in Aaron Moorhead, who was a wide receiver coach at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt doesn't have a whole bunch of talent, but somehow they always have a wide receiver draft almost every other year. And also, when he played in the league, he played beside Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. So I hope he brought some of that preparation with him. So that we brought in Marty Morningwig, which was a head scratcher at first. I imagine like it was to get Wentz out the pocket more. That's when he plays his best. But then once we our second round draft pick, it started making a little bit more sense. And then we also brought in he was in at Mississippi State and Andrew Brenner, and he played under Joe Moorhead, who was offensive coordinator for Miles Sanders when he was at Penn State. So it's a lot of continuity there, but also some new pieces because they said one thing about Eagles offense, it did get predictable, but when your whole wide receiver core is literally street people off the practice squad from 2 weeks ago, it's going to look very basic. And I think one of the So that's that offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, one thing I like was we brought in the former defensive coordinator from Atlanta to be our DB coach. Was DB has always been the weak point on our defense. So always. And so because Jim Schwartz
word to Bradley Fletcher.
Why would you do that? But so and you know he was defensive coordinator when he was secondary coach when they went to the Super Bowl. So I think it really so you add that, and then we got Darius Slay, one of the top cornerbacks in the league. And I think the biggest thing is that Jim Schwartz will be changing philosophy because we always agree zone. And sometimes it's just annoying, you know, play that 6 defense, but now you got somebody who can jam the receiver about the ball, can shadow, which we've never had a corner who can shadow since Asante Samuel. And, you know, went out and got Nikhil Roby-Coleman, who was one of the best slot corners in the league. So, I mean, there's a question of who's on that other outside corner between Avonte Maddox and Sidney Jones. Preferably, I like Sidney Jones, but that's just me. So there is that. And, you know, Darius Slay has always matched up really well against Amari Cooper. So I do like that. And then the addition of Javon Hargrave, because they looked at people who him and Fletcher Cox had the most double teams last year. So Derek Barnett on a contract year, on the 5th-year option, like you say, you take anybody on one. And so him and Brandon Graham, you can't leave Brandon Graham alone. So I'm really liking that. Now on to the draft, which was very, very interesting, to say the least. So the Jalen Reagor pick, as you know, I like that one because they kept mocking us to Justin Jefferson, who I did not want. But Jalen Reagor had a very, very bad quarterback at TCU. I think what was it? His quarterback was like it was like the worst. Was it, as far as accuracy, like
catchable passes or something like that.
Yeah. He like 30% of his passes were catchable, and I mean, and he was still a first-round pick. And then also, as we talked about in the last episode, how Matt Breida was the fastest person NFL last year as far as miles per hour. Jalen Reagor was the fastest person in college football last year as far as miles per hour. So that I'm gonna skip the second round for now because I have a lot to say about that. We went and we got a Davion Taylor who linebacker out of Colorado he hasn't played a lot. I mean, he's raw, but they played in a lot of different spaces, and he ran almost a 4.4 flat. They got Kevon Wallace out of Clemson, who that was one of my favorite safeties there. And also John Hightower, the receiver out of Boise State, who can fly. Watch him on film, he kind of reminds me of Torrey Smith. They got Quez Watkins, who ran like the second or third fastest time out of receivers. The only thing about him, like, when I see him run on film, I don't see 4.3. You can be 4.3 without pads on. It'll be different when you got the pads on. So we've got a lot of speed to complement Wentz's ability. So you open up down the field. Of course, you get Deshaun Jackson back, and then that opens up. It gives a lot more space with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Because they were down the stretch last year. We had no one who would stretch the field. However, and so Goddard and Ertz had all these contested catches. So now they run the free open, and of course that opens everything up for Miles Sanders. So
real quick, man, before you go on your next point, y'all definitely try to draft a 4x1 team and bring in a 4x1 team this offseason. I don't know if, like I said, y'all trying to mimic the Kansas City Chiefs or what's going on there, but y'all definitely brought in a lot of speed. Real quick though, on the draft, had to give a shout out to your 6th round pick, Sean Bradley, linebacker out of Temple, another South Jersey kid from right around the corner for where I am. So, but definitely a solid pick. So from the play at Temple, be from South Jersey, kind of stay home in the area. And then the other one I actually want to give y'all a shout out for that I could not believe y'all was able to get this late was Prince Tega.
He had all the draft commercials.
All the draft commercials. He was, early on, it was talking about him being a potential first round. Like he was highly rated early on. and he fell due to some medical risks, coming off of a knee injury. But I was still shocked to see him fall all the way to the 6th round. Like, I couldn't believe he fell there. He's supposed to be healthy now. So if you get somebody like that, I mean, that's like that value there is just crazy to me. And then y'all picked his teammate 2 rounds earlier from Auburn, and Jack Driscoll. So like I said, two solid picks. I mean, obviously, I feel like people seeing, especially when the Cowboys went the way they went with Martin and Frederick and Tyron Smith, like that recipe, like to have that offensive line, especially if you can get people on that rookie deals and continue to stack up a strong offensive line, man.
Yeah. So this point, which is, you saw my reaction when we drafted him. And it took me 2 weeks to give you my diagnosis of it.
Not want to talk about Jalen.
I ain't talk about it for 2 weeks. Cause I'm sitting here and I'm watching the cast, like the draft, and I see Doug Peterson all giddy. I'm like, we got somebody now. And then they announced it. I'm thinking, for what? Like us, all this, like, we got a receiver, but then I thought about, if you think about anybody who come from the Mike Holmgren coaching tree, like, they all develop quarterbacks. So you think about, and they all develop and they trade them. So you think about, I mean, just all the people who are between Mike Holmgren, Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, we traded Sam Bradford, AJ Philly, Donovan McNabb, Kevin Cobb, and all the people, they all going for at least a 2nd round pick. So as far as this, so like, say 4 years, I say 4 years because that's time to we traded Kevin Cobb. So in 4 years, and especially with like an extra season game now, people start calling for Jalen Hurts. Trade him, at least 1st round pick. And if not, if we really want to stick with 1st round, stick with Jalen Hurts, that's the first year we can reasonably get a Carson Wentz deal. So I think we get a 1st round pick coming back.
And the thing I hate most about football and about sports is injuries. I don't like seeing them, but that's the elephant in the room. It is like, and I want to see healthy seasons from Carson Wentz going forward. But the season you guys were able to put out a backup quarterback in the playoffs to help carry you to a Super Bowl, like, you can't just then kind of just say, oh, we don't need to value that position. You know what I mean? So you no longer have Nick Foles there in the locker room. Carson Wentz, unfortunately, last year gets hurt in the Seattle game in the playoffs. And you guys bring in a quarterback who's old and slow and was running read options with him. Like,
but with that one, like, yeah, it is a part of football, but I don't want to I forget the dude's name. Dan Orlovsky. To his point, if you taking that time to rehash Carson Wentz can't stay healthy over a concussion, I mean, at least one person on the team has a concussion every week. But very true.
But it is, like I said, it doesn't help, and he's obviously had other injury things throughout obviously his career. So that stuff is highly notable. So did Matt Stafford. They would call him Matt Stafford Bubble Boy his first couple of years in the league, and he hasn't had big injury really, over the last decade. So like, hopefully that goes away, especially for you guys. But to bring in a quarterback like Jalen Hurts and, like I said, still be able to run, who knows if you guys, like I said, bring him in to do different things within the offense this year. The way they maybe use Lamar Jackson his rookie year in Baltimore.
And that's what and Doug Peterson did come out and say that, like, it's fair to make that comparable to his rookie year. And of course, we got Martin who's with Lamar Jackson in his rookie year. Right. And so if you think about that, so you have that. You also have the development piece. And shoot, just a couple of years ago, Jimmy G played 2 games, and the Browns offered like a 1st round and more. So somehow we're gonna come back. And so What?
Or maybe your guys trying to get a quarterback that can crack the NFL top 100 list.
We will get that later. But I don't know. Then of course now you're talking about the rumors. Rumors like it's going to be a Taysom Hill package on steroids, and so I think we can all agree Taysom Hill, he's an athlete, but he's nowhere near the athlete that Jalen Hurts is. Now you can say he ran a faster 40, but I mean, did you really tell me that Tariq Hill only runs a 4.3? Like, no.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen Jalen Hurts on the field, and he looks a lot faster. But that, and on top of that, when Taysom Hill gets the ball, no one cares about him throwing the ball. Like his stat line is like he's thrown he's 0 for 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. Like that's his career stat. No one's really concerned about him. Jalen Hurts showed he can throw the ball, and so you can get him and Carson Wentz on the field at the same time. And granted, I mean, don't know how that looks, but still, like it keeps the defense guessing, and so you can't have a predictable offense, and so that keeps the defense off guard. So you got 2 quarterbacks in the backfield, and then you got a 4x1 team on the outside. Blink an eye, we gone. So where is that? I mean, it's a lot of different things. This was really puzzling. It took me a lot of weeks to put it together in my head of what we're doing. Like, why do we draft Jalen Hurts? Why do we go so speed heavy on the other end? But it was just to flip the script and not go because we were one of the slowest teams last year. Other than Miles Sanders, we were one of the slowest teams last year down the stretch. And of course, in the playoffs, and Carson Wentz get a concussion. Now it's like, okay, double down on Miles Sanders because we can keep up with Zach Ertz.
Yeah. Like, what else you going? So, like I said, we talked about the track team. You guys tried to, form like Voltron. Like you guys try to bring in a bunch of speed. One of those people being Marquise Goodwin.
Mm-hmm.
And news today came out that he's decided to opt out of the season due to COVID, due to the pandemic and everything like that. So unfortunately, that would be one less speedster you guys are going to have out there. Like I said, but you still have Deshaun Jackson. You guys drafted Jalen Reagor. I know Alshon was put on the active pup list today, as well as a few other people I saw around. Don Terry Poe from the Cowboys, Tyron Croft from the Cowboys. But obviously with that one, they're able to come off of that as soon as they're able to kind of pass their physical and get cleared to practice. So that's
and
not
they said, and they said Alshon looking really good too.
Yeah, the active pup list at this point is a lot different from the pup list you hear later on when if you're on that, you can't come back until after week 6 of the regular season. This one, once you're good, you're able to kind of come back and practice. And I did see that they like the way Alshon's progressing. So it's going to be interesting. I want to go to one of the questions we had here from the group. They said in the chat, Cowboys is trash. I agree. They hating heavy. But let's see. One of the questions we had here was, will Chase Young be the Washington football team player of the year? What do you think?
For that team?
For that, it's only saying player of the year for that team. Will he be, I guess, the biggest, the best player on their team this year? Maybe the one that has the most success or stats?
It's kind of hard for me to argue Landon Collins right now. I mean, it's like him beating out Landon Collins right now because we know what Landon Collins is. We don't know what Chase Young is in the league yet.
I say it's Scary Terry. I'm gonna go offense and say it's Terry.
That's definitely an accurate name. When that boy get in the 5th step of his route.
Yeah, I mean
he's legitimately scary.
Listen, like I said, he's a problem. Now, I can ask, will Chase Young be rookie, defensive rookie of the year? Might be a better question. He's going to have some people. Go ahead.
It could be.
Yeah, like you say, Devin could be.
Yeah.
Obviously, he'll be competing with a few cats. Obviously, we talked about Isaiah Simmons before, but Derrick Brown's another one of those players who might be able to, flat, like I said, who can wreak havoc as well. Some of the cornerbacks, you got Jeff Okuda, his college teammate. And we've seen what some of those guys have been able to do in the league coming out of Ohio.
Or even Kenneth Murray.
That's another one. You got Patrick Queen in Baltimore. Like you have a couple of these guys, like I said, that are going to go. But I would say Chase Young is probably a heavy favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys have any other questions about the NFC East, leave them in the chat. But while they're coming up with some questions or any additional, who do you have that had the best offseason in the NFC?
You asking me?
I'm going to you first. Let me know in the comments below who y'all think.
Cowboys had the best offseason. It takes me a lot for me to say, but yeah, transaction-wise, yes.
Yeah, upgrading the quarterback. The draft that we had. I can't argue it. I agree. I agree as well as the Cowboys. Where I think we will argue is, who do you have winning the NFC East?
Fly, Eagles, fly. You can't short my man Carson Wentz after they left off NFL top 100 to throw for 4,000 yards with no receiver over 500 yards, and he had a whole street team. Remember the game NFL Street? That's what he had a receiver for. And
but they was like all pros on NFL Street, so that's not accurate. They were like all Pro Bowlers on NFL Street.
But well, you get what I'm saying.
Listen,
he had receivers from pick up and run. Remember, he's playing as a kid. That's pretty much what it was.
Listen, I'll say this, man. Listen, those people just proved the whole Dak Wentz argument. Like, Wentz ain't even, qualified to be on the top 100. Dak was like 46 or something like that. So
yeah, you got to surround Dak with all the perfect pieces, because if he go a couple games without Zeke, he's hurt. He can't do well. Go without Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper don't show up, he can't do well. That's cute and all, but the only year that Carson Wentz really had a real good year was when they surrounded him with a whole bunch of great pieces. It was the year they got Alshon, the year they got Jordan Howard. That was the year when you guys won the Super Bowl, but unfortunately he wasn't there to play in it. So then you got losing pieces, and what I know is Dak has never had a losing season, and Amari hasn't been that's right.
One. I know for one of those seasons. Yeah. I know for one of those seasons, Zeke was suspended for 6 games. We also did not have our left tackle for those games, and we still went 9-7 that year. So
that same season, we didn't have our left tackle either.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Don't bother me now. But no, like I said, you guys didn't, but you guys also didn't have the bad coaching we had.
Very true.
But no, in all honesty, I joke and yes, there's a big, Dak versus Wentz thing. I honestly think they're very comparable. Wentz has a better arm talent. I personally would take Dak over Wentz, but you're splitting hairs between the two. To leave Wentz off the list, when I saw that today, I laughed. I actually had to look in Google, make sure someone wasn't saying it wrong. They were just guessing that he wasn't on the on the rest of the list. Because the thing I said, they got Tannehill at number 68, but Carson Wentz ain't even on the list. And then I saw the NFL Network confirm the only Eagles players to be on the top 100, and they were from 75 to 98 or whatever, and it didn't have Carson Wentz's name. So I laughed. I think I sent you a text about it. Find it funny, but honestly, I would have rather them have Carson Wentz at 100 or 99 than off the list. Don't give anybody any extra ammo. Needed, another chip on their shoulder. Obviously, he already has the draft pick of Jalen Hurts there. He's dealing with the injury stuff. He's dealing with the ghost of Nick Foles. So he has a lot. So we'll see if he's able to put all that together and propel himself forward, or if it's going to collapse in on him.
I think he takes the momentum that happened those last games down the last stretch of the season when there was no other like voices in the locker room, like who played with Nick Foles, so he literally had to actually like lead the team and like, hey, look, how do you like the ball from you? Okay, I threw the ball this way. To get with these receivers who hadn't had a lot of in-game experience, I think the coaching locker room really gravitated around. The one I think our biggest loss is the loss of Malcolm Jenkins. That one because it was a culture guy. He played all over the field. He did lose a step. I mean, he's 33, but as far as in locker room, I think that was a huge loss.
Yeah. What's going on, Dan? I see you in there. Another Cowboys fan. But Alshon's still there, and they've been saying Alshon's sometimes been rumored to be that guy who's had, his issues with Carson, but we'll see how that plays out. Got a couple more questions in here real quick. I'll let you answer this first one. And it's do you think the Eagles did a good job at the draft in 2020?
That's tough. Honestly, I can't say yes or no right now. I think they did a good job of getting what they wanted to get. I mean, like, so as far as they wanted to back a quarterback, we knew that going in because we couldn't go with Josh McCown anymore. And also, like, wanted more speed on the offense. I think they were good at getting what they wanted. As far as comparable to other people, I mean, I saw somewhere it had us rated as a C or a D. Kind of hard. I kind of look at the whole offseason holistically, from the coaching changes to what they did in free agency, what they did in the draft, and like so, putting all that together, it's all complementary. So I do like it. As far as a good job, that's really to be determined.
Yeah, if Wentz stays healthy and you don't use Hurts that much, it'll go down. Like will it go down as a wasted pick, especially if he's not traded away for at least a second? Like how will that go when you guys maybe could have gotten more talent around Carson Wentz? If Wentz goes down, Hurts has to come in and he's able to carry the team, while he's gone, then obviously that's going to look great. So some of it really is depending on how I think things play out for you guys. Also with Jalen Reagor, you might not like Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson and a lot of other receivers that went after Jalen Reagor are always going to be looked at, I think, by Eagles fans to compare how that pick versus some of those other receivers turned out. And when the Eagles had, a case of the drops last year with Nelson Aguilar, Jalen Reagor also has had some drop issues. Now you talk about the quarterback and everything, but like when you guys had this stuff with the Nelson Aguilar, we know about the the video that went viral and all of that. Like to bring in Jalen Reagor, who's not a sure-handed receiver, he is a speedster, but he's not a sure-handed receiver. Like, how is that going to fly over if he begins, if he has a couple crucial drops? So that's, like I said, just some of those two picks, especially with as deep as his wide receiver class was, with a Justin Jefferson that went after him, with Denzel Mims, I can go on and on with all the receivers that are in this class. If Jalen Reagor isn't one of the top 4 or 5 receivers in this class, how would that then look going forward? So it is a lot of wait and see. Those receivers were all kind of close, interchangeable in that range. And what's really going to be, like I said, time will tell who is going to emerge as the better receivers from this draft class. Let's see. We'll take one or two more questions before this wraps up and kicks us out because of time. NFC question, but who is the best running back in the NFC for the 2020 season? Just the NFC. So that takes out Chubb. That takes out Derrick Henry. But I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, you got Zeke. You got Dalvin Cook. You have Alvin Kamara. So who you taking as the best running back in the NFC? You got Saquon Barkley. I don't want to leave Saquon Barkley out, obviously.
Yeah. Now, my favorite running back, despite the fact he played for the Giants, is Saquon. I like him at Penn State. The best. So about going in 2020. I
don't even know if it's going into 2020. I think it's going to be at the end of 2020.
That's what I'm talking about. I meant to say that, but I think based off strength of schedule, I'm still going to go Christian McCaffrey because they're going to play like a bad schedule.
You can't argue with the Christian McCaffrey pick. I mean, obviously he does it all. But I'm gonna go with Zeke reclaiming that title back. I think Zeke's pissed off. Whether it be from Madden ratings to the ESPN poll from when they polled different front office members around the league and where they had him rated. And I think one guy rated him out of the top 10 at like number 11. So I think Zeke, they have like the 11 best running back in the entire NFL.
Wow.
And then a lot of times when they try to big up one person, a lot of times they're trying to put down other running backs as opposed to saying why they feel someone is a strong or the best running back. And Zeke is going to be angry this year. He looks to be coming in lean, and sometimes Zeke can sometimes be packing on a little more weight, and then in the season kind of gets lean, but he looks to be coming in lean this year, and he looks, like I said, going to be running aggressive, angry, and a man on a mission. So I got Zeke, especially in the Mike McCarthy offense. Like I said, I mean, I think he's going to come back with evil intentions this year. So that's who I got for best running back in the NFC for 2020. About wraps up the questions. That wraps up our division breakdowns for the 2020 offseason. Obviously, we'll continue to come on here as camps have opened up today. Teams have started to report to camps. Cowboys being one, Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders were another. But like I said, over the next couple of days, everyone will be officially back in camp. We'll see how the COVID testing goes. We'll see what other players continue to opt out of the 2020 season. We know there's been a bunch of New England Patriots who have opted out already. I think like 6 or 7 names, including Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung. So we'll see how that continues to affect the NFL. How many players choose to opt out? Will there be a situation like we see in baseball with the Florida Marlins, and an outbreak on a team? So there's going to be a lot, like I said, to continue to talk about. Obviously, we have the NBA playoffs and the bubble coming up as well. So, like I said, stick around. Follow Next Possession Sports on Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. We're also on podcast drops on Spotify, Apple Music. And for Next Possession Sports fans, make sure y'all follow Gridiron Access at Gridiron_Access. They're doing big things out here for youth sports, youth football, and in the football world. But I appreciate everybody stopping in. Kamal, it's been real.
And
until next time.
And our What Would Have Happened series, and we got our power rankings coming out too.
Yes. What would have happened as well? Special series breaking down a lot of events in sports history and the alternate endings that could have been. And we definitely going to get power rankings coming up. In the rankings, Keenan Allen had a lot to say. Mike Evans was clapping back. So, like I said, check our Facebook group out at Next Possession Sports. We'll probably drop some polls on there to see who have people as the best player in each position. But yeah, man, it's been real. Russ makes videos. Parker Palouse, what's going on? Holla at y'all. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, we got one more last question in here. I think they might have jumped in late. Let's say what's going on. MJ the North Star and Jay, that kid right there, future Olympian. I'm gonna let you know that right now, Kamal. A track star, going to be doing big things. You might be a dual sport athlete. You know what I mean? You never know. But I picked the Cowboys to win the division. It's been a back and forth every other year. It has been a double winner for quite some time. And all the years ending in an even year, the Cowboys been winning, 16, 18. So 2020 is our year. Kamel picked Philadelphia Eagles. But
yeah, and since he said 2020 is our year, he's gonna feel like everybody else has said that this year.
Now, but they all said that before the year. They said that before the year started. You know what I mean? I'm saying it in the
before
year.
the season started, before the year started.
The even years, man. The even years been good. We've been rotating back and forth. So I mean, it's only right. It's our turn to shine. Y'all don't really know what's going to hit y'all with Mike McCarthy coming in running the offense. So Cowboys taking it, man. Cowboys taking it.
No.
Listen, man, y'all. Listen. Cowboys aren't only taking it. Cowboys going to sweep the Eagles. Book it.
Let's see. 728 at 1028. That's what you said.
1028.
All right. I'm going to bring it back to you.
Hey, bring it back. Please. Run this back. And we're going to have the video. You can go back to YouTube and pull up the clip. You can clip it, do whatever you want. Yeah, man. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans was all coming at Keenan Allen, man.
I ain't see what Chris Godwin said, but that dude, Mike Evans, like, man, he barely acknowledged him. He was like, nah, you ain't on my level, man.
He said, nah, that was Chris Goodwin you tagged. I'm Godwin, but he ain't better than me neither. Oh, man, listen. Y'all be sure to follow us. Like I said, we're going to have our rankings coming out, our power rankings, my rankings versus his rankings. We got our third co-host, Vendell. We'll see what he can stop in and provide some of his rankings. But it's been real, y'all. Timer's about to kick us out. Catch y'all next time.
Outro.